The notion that vaccines and global warming are lies used to oppress Christians is a conspiracy theory that has gained traction in some circles. Proponents of this idea argue that these two concepts are being used as tools of control, manipulated by powerful forces to undermine Christian values and freedoms. However, a closer examination of the evidence and the underlying motivations behind these claims reveals a more complex and nuanced reality. On the surface, the idea that vaccines are a form of oppression may seem far-fetched. Vaccines have been widely proven to be safe and effective in preventing the spread of diseases, saving countless lives, and improving public health outcomes. However, some Christians have raised concerns that certain vaccines are derived from aborted fetal tissue or contain other morally objectionable ingredients. While these concerns are understandable, they are often based on misinformation or a lack of understanding about the vaccine development process. In reality, the vast majority of vaccines are developed using cell lines that were originally derived from aborted fetuses, but these cell lines have been replicated and adapted for use in vaccine production, making them distinct from the original tissue. Furthermore, many vaccine manufacturers have developed alternative methods that do not rely on these cell lines, and some have even developed vegan-friendly vaccines. The notion that vaccines are a form of oppression is often perpetuated by misinformation and a lack of trust in the scientific community. Similarly, the idea that global warming is a hoax perpetrated to oppress Christians is a claim that has been thoroughly debunked by scientific evidence. The overwhelming consensus among climate scientists is that human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, are significantly contributing to the increase in global temperatures. However, some Christians have argued that the concept of global warming is being used as a pretext to impose draconian environmental regulations that infringe upon individual freedoms and undermine Christian values. While it is true that some environmental policies may have unintended consequences or be overly restrictive, the scientific evidence supporting the reality of global warming is undeniable. Climate change is having a disproportionate impact on vulnerable populations, including the poor, the elderly, and those living in developing countries. As Christians, it is our moral obligation to care for the most vulnerable among us and to be good stewards of the earth. Rather than viewing global warming as a hoax or a form of oppression, Christians should be at the forefront of efforts to mitigate its effects and promote sustainable living. It is also worth noting that the notion that vaccines and global warming are lies used to oppress Christians is often perpetuated by a broader narrative of persecution and victimhood. This narrative suggests that Christians are being systematically targeted and marginalized by secular forces, and that concepts like vaccines and global warming are being used as tools of control to undermine Christian values. However, this narrative is often exaggerated or distorted, and it can have the unintended consequence of creating a sense of mistrust and division within the Christian community. In conclusion, while there may be legitimate concerns about the development and implementation of vaccines, as well as the impact of environmental policies on individual freedoms, the notion that these concepts are lies used to oppress Christians is a conspiracy theory that lacks substance. As Christians, we should be guided by a commitment to truth, compassion, and justice rather than by misinformation and unfounded fears. By promoting a more nuanced understanding of these issues and engaging in respectful dialogue with those who may hold different views, we can work towards creating a more just and equitable society that reflects the values of our faith. Ultimately, it is our responsibility as Christians to seek truth, to promote understanding, and to care for the most vulnerable among us, rather than perpetuating unfounded conspiracy theories that can only serve to divide and mislead.